Hello students, welcome to another video of Nutrition in Animals chapter 2. We have already discussed the oral cavity which contains teeth, tongue and salivary glands. So the food has turned into bolus and the tongue has passed or pushed the food into the pharynx. What is pharynx? It is a common pathway which connects the mouth to the next part of the digestive system, that is the esophagus. So pharynx is located here, and this is the food pipe and this is the windpipe. So pharynx is a common pathway. Now one more term that we are going to see is epiglottis, which is a muscular flap which prevents the food from going into our lungs through the larynx. Now a person cannot breathe while swallowing because the soft palate closes the nasal cavity, whereas the epiglottis will close the trachea. So when we are swallowing for few seconds, we do not breathe. In this video, we'll be watching how respiration and the process of nutrition goes on hand to hand. We will see when the food is passing, the epiglottis closes the trachea. So first of all, here you can see how respiration, that is inhalation, is going on. That is the air is being taken in and the air is being exhaled, that is moved out with the help of the trachea, with the help of mouth and also with the help of our nose. So this is the larynx, you can see air is going in. Now food is coming inside. So you can see the trachea has been closed and the food will pass through the esophagus. So this is the esophagus and the food will pass through the esophagus. You'll see. So you can see how the food is passing now. So the structure, air is blocked now. The structure has blocked the air and then food will pass. So this is how it happens. Again, you can see how it is happening. The food is passing and the epiglottis is closing the windpipe. So this goes on and we cannot breathe when we are swallowing the foods. This is what we conclude from this video. Moving on, this was about swallowing. So when we swallow, we cannot breathe. Okay, so moving on. So now the food passes from the pharynx to another part of our digestive system, which is known as esophagus. Esophagus is also known as food pipe since the food is passing through this pipe. So how does the food passes so easily through the esophagus? It happens because of a process which is known as peristalsis. Now what is peristalsis? So it is wave-like motions of the alimentary canal which moves the food forwards. So you can see here, this is the digestive tract, and as the bolus passes away, there is a wave of relaxation and contraction which creates a wave-like motion in the cavity, which helps in the passage of the food. Okay, so this is only known as peristalsis. Now you can see here again, peristalsis is possible because of the muscles that are present, ring like muscles that are present here. You can see these are the muscles that are present in the gut wall, and the contraction of the circular and longitudinal muscles together only help in pushing the food downwards to the stomach. So you can see here the circular muscle above the bolus will contract and the longitudinal muscle will relax, and this continuous contraction and relaxation of the muscles only help in pushing the food downwards. So circular muscles will contract, the longitudinal ones, that is the long ones, will relax, and hence the bolus will be pushed down towards the stomach, and finally the bolus will reach the next part of the digestive system, that is the stomach. So the food has reached the stomach now. Now we will see the structure of the stomach in detail. So first of all, the stomach stores the food for some time and releases it slowly. So food stays for almost 2 to 6 hours in the stomach, and the food is then passed on to the next organ, that is the small intestine, in the form of a creamy liquid which is known as chyme. So first of all, the food that has come from the mouth to the esophagus was known as bolus, and now when the food will be passing away from the stomach, it will be known as chyme and it will be a creamy liquid. Now food remains in the stomach, inside the stomach, due to the contraction of two sphincters. That is, it enters because of the contraction of two sphincters. Sphincters are nothing but door-like structures which will help in the entry and the exit of food from the stomach. So first of all, the sphincter or the door that is at the junction of the esophagus and the stomach is the cardiac sphincter, whereas the sphincter or the door that is present at the junction of the small intestine and the stomach is the pyloric sphincter. So, lining of mucus is also present on the walls of the stomach, and churning happens due to the different layers of muscles. So, inside the stomach, churning motion of the food takes place since the muscles is composed of many walls. Now, which sphincter is contracted first? So, pyloric sphincter will relax to let chyme into the duodenum, whereas cardiac sphincter contracts. So, let us move now to the next slide. So, what are gastric glands? So, gastric glands are situated in the walls of the stomach, and these gastric glands secrete a juice that is known as gastric juice. So, the gastric glands are involved in the secretion of the gastric juice, and where are they located? In the inner walls of the stomach. Now, moving on, what happens to the food inside the stomach then? First of all, the acid and the pepsin, which is an enzyme present in the digestive juice, or which is present in the gastric juice. Both are present in the gastric juice, both form the gastric juice. So, what is digestive juice? It is the mixture of acid and pepsin, which is an enzyme, and it helps in the chemical digestion of the food. So, this is first thing or first process that is happening or taking place in the stomach, that is the chemical digestion. Also, the churning motion that we have seen, or the peristalsis that will take place inside the stomach, will also help in changing the state, that is the bolus will change into creamy liquid, which is known as chyme. So, this is the mechanical digestion of food that will take place in the stomach. Now, let us study what are the different juices, the different things, components of gastric juice. So, gastric juice contains hydrochloric acid, pepsin and renin. So, these are the different components of the gastric juice. So, now let us see the functions of these one by one. So, first of all, talking of the hydrochloric acid, so it creates the optimum pH for the action of pepsin. Pepsin is secreted in an inactive form, that is pepsinogen. This pepsinogen is not active. It cannot help in the breakdown of the proteins. It has to be activated first, and this activation of the pepsinogen takes place with the help of HCl. HCl will act and it will activate the enzyme pepsinogen. It also helps in killing the bacteria that we take in along with the food that we eat. Also, sometimes you may feel a burning sensation in your stomach, and it happens because of the production of excessive acid in our body. Gastric juice may enter the esophagus, and it may sometimes also, sometimes not always, it may burn the mucus wall, and it may lead to the formation of ulcers. But since a thick layer of mucus is present, so our stomach wall or our esophagus wall do not burn, but sometimes we may feel that heartburn, which is due to the reflux of the acid into the esophagus. Now, what can we do when we feel such sensation? So, we can drink milk or we can take antacids. So, antacids will neutralize the effect of acid in a stomach. Now, doctors can see this stomach lining with the help of an instrument which is known as endoscope, which can be passed on with the help of the esophagus. Now, what are stomach ulcers? Stomach ulcers are formed when the stomach wall secrete very less mucus. The mucus protects the inner wall of the stomach from the action of HCl, that is hydrochloric acid. When enough HCl will not be there, so this HCl will directly come in contact with the stomach walls and helps lead to the formation of ulcers, which are known as gastric ulcers. Now, what is the role of the enzyme pepsin? So, we have seen in the first video also that pepsins, these are enzymes which will help in the breakdown of proteins into polypeptides. So, the proteins will be breaking down with the help of pepsin. Now, what are the conditions which are required to digest a meat? So, of course, we have already seen, to first of all, the activation will be done with the help of HCl, and pepsin will help in the digestion. So, pepsin plus HCl will help in the digestion of meat. Now, some substances are directly absorbed from the stomach. It will not pass on to the small intestine. It will be absorbed directly by the stomach, and such substances are ethanol, vitamins, some salts and drugs, some water, and also glucose. So, these are directly absorbed from the stomach. That's why people get drunk very easily. Now, next enzyme that is found in the gastric juice is renin. It is an enzyme found in the stomach of young children, infants. What is the function? So, it degrades the soluble milk protein into insoluble protein. So, pepsin then acts on the insoluble protein to digest it. So, it is also the renin enzyme is also used in the production of cheese. So, students, next we are going to study about the small intestine. We will deal with the small intestine in the next video. This is all for this video, students. So, thank you so much.